The galaxy had known many wars, resource wars, ideological wars, succession wars, but nothing had prepared it for the sheer cosmic absurdity that unfolded the day the Zenith Empire declared war on humanity. Not because of the destruction, not because of the politics, but because humanity simply didn't care. Beginning, the Empire's great mistake. Grand Imperator Vorax stood on the balcony of the celestial throne as 1,000,000,000,000 Imperial citizens watched his broadcast across the star-spanning Zenith Empire. His armor gleamed like liquid gold, and the war banners of 100 conquered species billowed behind him. As of this moment, Vorax proclaimed, voice amplified across the void, the Zenith Empire declares total war upon the Terran collective. Gasps. Cheers. Roars. Across the Empire, fleets mobilized and soldiers raised their weapons in synchronized salute. For millennia, the Zenith Empire had faced no equal. Their weaponry was unmatched, their military unchallenged, their conquerors' pride unbreakable. Humanity was just another upstart species, barely 500 years into the galactic stage. Bold, arrogant, and reckless, no self-respecting empire could tolerate such behavior. Vorax continued, humanity has violated the edicts of expansion. They have trespassed upon Imperial territories. They have. He paused, glancing to his advisor. What exactly did they do again? He whispered behind a muted mic. The advisor coughed nervously. They ignored an Imperial communique. Several, actually. Vorax blinked. You mean the diplomatic messages we sent? Yes, Grand Imperator. All of them. Every single one, sir. Vorax straightened, coughed, and resumed the broadcast. They have failed to show proper respect to the Empire. For this insult, we shall annihilate. Across the galaxy, a collective sigh rippled through human space as the declaration reached them. On Terra, most people didn't even notice. The news interrupted the middle of the Intercontinental Grabball Championships, and viewers quickly muted it. On Luna, a construction foreman grumbled about another delay. On Mars, a colony group chat filled with memes of gold-armored aliens shaking their fists at the sky. On Titan, a teenager posted, LOL, Imperial roleplayers are back at it again. And in the SolNet feed, right beneath the Empire's war declaration, was the more popular headline. Terran scientists discover new method for near-infinite clean energy. Most humans scrolled right past the war announcement. They had things to do, bills to pay, games to play, projects to finish. And frankly, humans were used to weird threats. Every few years, some giant monster, rogue AI, pocket universe rupture, or misguided alien cult caused trouble. There were standard procedures, insurance forms, evacuation drills, and cleanup crews for this sort of nonsense. The Zenith Empire was just the latest in a long line of things to deal with eventually. Middle, the Empire learns about the humans. The first Imperial fleet deployed with dramatic fanfare. 50,000 warships dropped from hyperspace near the Terran colony world of Helix. 4. Engines blazing. The fleet commander, High Marshal Zorakel, spoke confidently to his officers. Our mission is simple. We bombard the colony, force a surrender, and demand reparations. After their inevitable panic, the humans will bow. His second-in-command nodded. Shall I prepare the invasion ground forces? Zorax sneered. Please. These are humans. They will beg for mercy long before we need to set foot on their soil. He raised his hand. Begin orbital intimidation strike. A lieutenant's mandibles twitched nervously. Marshal, they aren't responding. Of course they aren't responding, Zorax said with a laugh. They are frozen in terror. No, sir. I mean they aren't responding because they're busy. Busy? Doing what? The lieutenant projected the colony's public broadcast. A group of humans in heavy exosuits were working in a massive construction pit. A foreman wearing a neon vest waved at the drone camera. "Attention orbital vessels." A loud voice boomed from the ground. "Stop blocking the sun. We're behind schedule as it is." Zorak stared. That's it? No panic? No evacuation?" One of the officers gulped. "Sir, they seem annoyed." But Zorak was not deterred. "No matter. Begin bombarding." "Incoming vessel," shouted a sensor officer. Zorak smirked. The human defenders finally show their pitiful counterattack. Something massive dropped out of FTL. Very massive. Colossal. A ship so big it created a gravitational ripple through nearby space. A ship made of matte black armor plating several meters thick, bristling with sensor arrays, shield nodes, and industrial-grade mass drivers that looked like they could launch moons. Zorak's smirk faded. "What is that?" A junior officer squeaked. "Sir, that's not a military vessel." The ship rotated, revealing an enormous logo across its hull. Terran Megastructural Engineering Corporation. Below it, in friendly white lettering, "Orbital Construction, Hauler number 39. Please keep a safe distance." The view screen lit up as the construction ship hailed them. A woman with safety goggles and a smudged jumpsuit appeared. "Hey, Empire guys," she shouted over the noise of machinery behind her. "You're in a restricted work zone. We've got an orbital ring segment coming through here." Zorak sputtered. "We are the Zenith Empire. You will submit to our military might." Cool," the woman said, barely listening. She turned and yelled off screen. "Power down the crane. These cosplayers are in the way." Zorak's jaw hung open. This is impossible. But then things grew worse. Because the Empire fired first. A precision plasma round streaked toward the surface of Helix 4. It hit a working site.
And it bounced.
The Terran colony's planetary barrier shield, a civilian-grade model, absorbed the blast effortlessly. A construction worker on the ground looked up and shouted, "Hey, watch it. We just calibrated this shield set. You're gonna screw with the metrics." Zorak suddenly remembered every intelligence briefing about humanity, and he realized none of them had been exaggerated. Humanity's reputation. Humans colonized death worlds for fun, built megastructures out of boredom, considered black holes engineering challenges, treated disasters as inconveniences, laughed in the face of apocalypses, and once defeated an interdimensional god using improvised experimental physics and a microwave. Everyone thought these stories were exaggerated. Zorak now suspected they were understated. The war that wasn't. The Empire launched its first offensive. Humanity didn't. Humanity replied. Not with fleets or armies, but with automated defense AIs, mining drones, planetary shield grids, and orbital construction ships apparently strong enough to rip apart battleships by accident. The Zenith flagship, Imperial Dawn, found this out the hard way when it attempted a flanking maneuver, only to collide with a tractor beam-tethered asteroid being moved for a future orbital highway. The asteroid won. The Empire managed to send a single diplomatic message after the collision. What kind of species uses planet-sized asteroids for infrastructure? Humanity responded, "We do. Please file a damage report with the appropriate civil engineering office." Eventually, finally, Terran High Command stepped in, mostly because the Empire was delaying scheduled construction projects. Admiral Serena Holt, commander of the Terran Fifth Fleet, contacted the Empire's leadership. Her message was short. "Stop shooting at our stuff. It's irritating." Vorax nearly fainted when he saw it. "Irritating? Irritating," he shouted. "We declare holy war, and they call it irritating?" He slammed his fist against the table. I want answers. Real answers. Why are humans like this? Middle, the envoy and the Earth question. The Empire demanded a diplomatic summit. Humanity agreed, mostly because the meeting location was near a spaceport with excellent restaurants. At the summit, Imperator Vorax personally confronted Admiral Holt. You mistake our intentions, human, he growled. We are the Zenith Empire, rulers of 10,000 worlds. Our firepower can tear apart suns. Our armies can flatten continents. Why do you show no fear? Serena Holt blinked once, then twice. Oh, she said. You are serious. Vorax froze. Serious? Serious? Yes, she said. We didn't realize this was an actual war. You didn't file Form 17B for a formal conflict declaration with the Galactic Council. We declared war in a galaxy-wide broadcast. Oh, we muted that, Holt said casually. There was a gravball match on. Vorax's eye twitched violently. Do you humans understand what we are? He hissed. We conquer stars. We reshape worlds. We command destruction beyond imagination. Holt shrugged. That's cool. We do construction. Usually bigger. Bigger? Bigger? And at that, Holt smiled. Would you like to see Earth? Vorax thought she meant their homeworld. He was wrong. She meant Earth's projects. The truth about humanity. Vorax arrived at the Sol system expecting a simple planet with modest defenses. Instead, he saw a Dyson swarm half-constructed, orbital rings spanning thousands of kilometers, artificial moons, automated terraforming fleets, quantum-entangled transit gates, mining operations in the sun's outer layers, and a station so large it had its own atmosphere and weather patterns. What is all this? He whispered. Holt answered calmly. Construction projects. Some are behind schedule because your fleet's got in the way. You build all this? She corrected him. We are building it. Most of this is only phase 1. Vorax swallowed hard. And what about your military? Holt raised a brow. This is our military. Vorax nearly collapsed. Terraformers, haulers, megastructural builders. All of it. Humanity didn't need a military superpower. They were a logistical superpower. The galaxy's greatest war machine was, in fact, an industrial engine turned up to 11, backed by a species whose solutions tended to be bigger, stronger, faster, unnecessarily dangerous, and built on the philosophy of we can fix it later if it explodes. Vorax trembled. He finally understood. Humans didn't ignore the war because they were arrogant. Humans ignored the war because it wasn't worth their time. Ending, the Empire reconsiders everything. Back on the Zenith capital world, Vorax sat in silence. His council waited anxiously. Well, one finally asked, what did you learn about humanity? Vorax stood slowly, looking 10 years older. We are not at war with the Terrans, he said. Relief rippled through the chamber. Then he added, we are in the way of the Terrans. Silence. Utter, horrified silence. He continued, they do not conquer. They do not threaten. They build. And build. And build. They treat planetary crusts like clay. They pick up asteroids like gravel. They harness stars like batteries. They consider apocalypses mild inconveniences. A counselor squeaked, are they gods? No, Vorax said, voice trembling. They are human. The chamber echoed with gasps. Our war declaration did not frighten them, he said. It annoyed them. We must never annoy them again. Another counselor asked timidly, what do we do, Imperator? Vorax inhaled deeply. Send an apology. And after that? Vorax hesitated, then nodded grimly. After that, we hire them. The council blinked. Hire them? Vorax collapsed into his throne. If they could build all of that for themselves, imagine what they could build for us. Word spread across the Empire. The Zenith Empire ends war with humanity, requests construction contracts. Humanity's official reply:
Sure.
our schedule's tight, but we can fit you in. And just like that, the greatest empire in the galaxy became the greatest client of the species they once tried to intimidate. Epilogue: humanity carries on. Helix 4's orbital construction resumed the next day. On Terra, people complained about traffic again. On Mars, someone started a betting pool on whether the Empire would survive their first Terran infrastructure safety audit. On Titan, the teenager posted, LMAO Empire surrendered faster than my homework deadline. Meanwhile, in a quiet office on the moon, Admiral Holt filed the final paperwork closing the incident. Under the nature of conflict drop-down, she selected minor disruption to construction workflow. And under casualties, she wrote 1 asteroid. Collision. Empire's fault. She hit submit. Then she went to lunch. And that was the war. The war where an empire declared total destruction, and humanity hardly cared. Because they had bigger things to build. Because they had places to go. Because they were human. And humans? Humans always had something better to do.